Howdy folks, Bluesboyjag here with yet another 3-string cigar box guitar lesson. This one is a simple boogie, open G tuning. That's your A string tuned down to a G, a D tuned normal to D, and a G tuned normal to G. 5th string down to G, 4th string tuned normal to D, and a 3rd string from a 6-string guitar tuned normal to G. This is probably the most common of all the 3-string cigar box guitar tunings. So I try to stick with that because most people have already experienced that tuning and messed around with it and watched millions and quadrillions and bazillions of open G cigar box guitar lessons on YouTube. So as you know, I use my fingers, and I thought, well, I'll do just a simple little boogie thing here with choking. So what I'm doing is choking the strings, and you've probably seen this on some other videos and my videos, because that's pretty much how I always play. If I'm playing a boogie, I do that choke thing. And what the heck is a choke? It's where I'm chopping off all the notes. So I'm killing everything, which means I'm muting everything. And then I'm unmuting and playing some more and then muting again. So it just makes it funky, chopping off the chords. So I'm open G tuning, like I said, and what we're going to be doing here is concentrating mainly on this 3rd fret. So I'm going to be playing an open chord, starting with the up strum, not the down strum. It's super, super common to start on the up strum. A lot of beginners think, well, you have to start with the down strum. You can, but you don't have to. So why would I start on the upstroke? Because it gives it a funky feel. Instead of it's. So start with the up. I'm using my first 2 fingers with no pick. And I use my fingers because I like to play these intricate, or sometimes not so intricate, little riffs with my thumb and first finger. So what we're going to do here is start out with the up strum. Open G chord, no fingers, no frets at all. I'm just muting over here with this hand. So we start on the up. Let's take a look at this hand. Real slow and up close. Notice I'm choking because I just can't play the cigar box guitar without choking. Starting on the up. That's the entire riff. So, if you're not familiar with the choking that I'm doing, or maybe you're working on it and you don't quite have it down yet, start out like this. I've got my thumb anchored on the back of the neck just to kind of keep my hand in the right spot, but I'm just basically doing a simple strum with no chokes. the first string as far as the melody. I'm strumming all three strings. And I'm starting out not choking. Once you get this down, we'll add the choking to it. So notice how nothing is chopped off, like this. We're going to start out nice and smooth without any choking. I'm putting a couple extra strums in there that I don't really want to put in there for now. So here's what we're doing, slowed down. Notice when I start that strum pattern or that riff, I'm starting on the up, which gives it a nice swing feel. Now we can get more funky and do individual notes, or we can do more choking. Like I said, if you've seen my other videos, you know I do a whole lot of choking. I like that funky feel. So these fingers are flopping up and down. So when I press down that first string, third fret, for instance, what's my thumb doing up here? It's doing nothing. It's just hanging out, just sitting there. And I'm choking with the second and third finger, just kind of flopping. Maybe even my pinky. All three of those are just flopping. Now let's take a look at the right hand. Starting with the up. Why? You don't have to. You can go if you want to. I like to start on the up. Doesn't really matter. So real slow with the right hand. And remember, over here, I'm choking. All these fingers flopping around, that's killing all those chords. I messed that one up. So that's the one chord. Remember, you have the 1 and the 4 and the 5 if you're playing blues. Well, your key is the 1 chord, and this is key G, and we're tuned to open G. So if you want to do more than one chord for this entire riff, my hat's crooked, isn't it? Or is it? Looks kind of crooked. Drive me crazy. Now, the difficult part for some people is choking every one of those strums. And I love to do that. You don't have to do that when you're playing blues, but I really like that feel. I call it chugga chugga. that's pretty straightforward because you're only playing that one chord. But if you wanted to, you can go to the 4. And I'm moving up here to the 4 chord, which is the 5th fret. And I'm barring all the way across. Not using my 3rd finger at all. Looks like it is, but all I'm doing is barring with my 1st finger and using my pinky 3 frets up. That 3rd finger is not pressing down at all. This finger sort of kind of looks like it's going to be pressing or about to be pressed or something like that, but that's just the way my finger kind of curls. So, I'm only using my pinky and my 1st finger. The 2nd and 3rd are not being used at all. It's hard to tell sometimes because that 3rd finger of mine curls. I don't know why. I guess I was born that way. It kind of curls when these 2 fingers, the 1st and the pinky, kind of stretched out. That 3rd finger wants to kind of curl and wants to grab. So now I'm doing that same riff on the 4 chord. The 1 chord is, that's your G. Now when I go up here and bar on the 5th fret, that's the 4 chord. It's the 4th chord in the key. Now I can do that anywhere, of course. Now I'm on the 5 chord, 4 chord, and the 1 chord. So you could take the same riff and apply it to all 3 chords. Now, notice the first one I did a minute ago, I'm back to that now. That's the G. I'm not barring. I don't need to bar because it's open. That's the chord right there. No fingers at all. I'm kind of doing it one way on the way up and another way on the way down, and you're like, what are you talking about? Well, check this out. This is on the way up because I'm starting on the low chord, which is G. And we do that again. Now we go to the 5 chord. I'm sorry, 4 chord. So that 4 chord is barring on the 5th fret. It's the same riff, but I have to do the bar in order to kill those notes, whereas I don't need to do a bar on the open chord because it's an open chord. Hope that makes sense. So there's lots of bouncing around here with my fingers, and that's basically choking. You don't have to choke. That's the exact same riff without choking. So you get the idea there. It's a boogie, and it's a 3 chord in the key of G, and you're playing a riff on every chord. You're not just doing a shuffle on the 1. You're playing a little riff on the 1, and then a riff on the 4, and back to the same riff on the 1, and then the 5. And then we're going to go down to the 4 again, and the 1. So I'm in the key of open G. So let's add a couple of cool little licks here. That's the one chord, and I'm playing that riff on the one chord. We're just going to stay on the one chord here. So, if we want to make it more fancy, what I'm doing is a pull off and then I'm strumming. So let's try this on the first string. Playing all three strings, starting on the up. And I'm pulling off that first string from the 3 fret to 0. The rest of it is the same riff I've been talking about for the last 15 minutes. So, all we're doing is adding that hammer and pull on the first string, 3rd fret. Now, the hardest part about this whole riff, if you haven't done it before, is doing the choking with your fretting hand. Now, I got a little bit fancy there. All I'm doing is I pull off on all 3 strings. Wow, there's a lot going on there. Not really. It's just repetitive movements and going from the first string to the second and the third and starting on the third and starting on the second and starting on the first and just jumping it all around. So notice my first finger jumps to the first string for that high note. So now I'm going to be on the 3rd and the 2nd string, but when I go up, I'll show you what I'm doing. Right, so I'm on the 3rd string and the 2nd with that finger on that 3rd fret. So far I have not, for instance, used that first finger on the 1st string, 3rd fret. So I'll stick on the 3rd and 2nd. Now I'm going to go to the 1st string. Now we're getting fancy because I'm going to the 4 chord. Don't let your brain explode. I'm going to the 4 chord by barring all the way across here on the 5th fret. So the 1 chord is open. Right? You know that part. Then we go to the 4 chord. So I'm playing that same riff by barring. Now 2 more up. I hope that makes sense to you. It's the same riff, but it does look different because I'm barring on the 3rd and the 5th and the 7th. The open looks totally different, right? Because I'm not barring. So have fun with that. Let me know if you have any questions. Check out my website, bluesboyjag.com. Cigar Box Guitars for 20 years. We'll see you next time.